Hey there, friends. I wanted to fill you in on how PlantCon 2024 in Dallas went and show you some of my fun finds, and then also go through what I do when I bring a new plant into the house, because you can't just, bring a plant home and put it on the table next to all of your other plants. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so first of all, PlantCon 2024. I know, it's crazy. I never would have imagined that I was the kind of person that would go to a plant convention, but I absolutely loved it. I got a bunch of great new plants, and ridiculously, I saw my favorite plant wrapper. Did you even know there was a plant wrapper? Like, not a wrap that goes on plants, like a wrapper that wraps about plants. So I'm going to drop the link to that song in the comments because I just absolutely love Rocco, and it's so crazy to see him in real life. What are the chances? Okay, so another thing that I thought was great at PlantCon, it just like warmed my little marketing heart, is they had these adorable cards that look like Pantone colors. If you're not in marketing and you don't do any graphic design, you might not know what Pantone color is, but Pantone colors, they put them out and they have, their little code and, what their name is. There's always a Pantone color of the year. And so they made these cute little postcards, and they have a Pantone color and the name, and then they have the little date. So I thought those were so well done and really cute. They have like a little name for each color. So I collected a whole set, obviously. Okay, so now to the plants that I got and what I got to do for them to get them acclimated and have them join the plant family here in my home. Okay, so first of all, I got this beautiful Alocasia. I mean, look at her. Her leaves are so shiny and beautiful. And then the underside have this nice black purple color. I love it. And this one already has a little flower on it. Isn't that sweet? Okay, so this one, I've actually had this plant before, but she is struggling, and I'm an immediate gratification gal. So the one I have now is down to 2 leaves because she had a mite infestation, which was very tragic. We did stop it. We'll talk more about pest control in future videos, but now she's down to just 2 little leaves, and that's just not enough for me. So I had to get this second beautiful Alocasia Bambino. Love her. Okay, the next one I actually got 2 of these, and I'm doing a little bit of an experiment for them. So this one is really pretty, the Anglaonema. So I wasn't sure about this one, but then I met this really sweet guy, Richie, who also has a great channel where he does some plant shopping videos and where to get the best deals on plants at the big box stores. And he did a very thorough PlantCon video. So I'll drop his link down in the comments as well, so you can check him out. But he was so great, he gave me some hot tips on the Anglaonema because I have never had any of these. So I'll tell you, their leaves to me seem really similar to, I don't know, like a poinsettia almost. They're really beautiful, mostly white leaves. So I got 2 of them. I went ahead and put 1 in soil. So I've got him in his little nursery pot in a cup so that I can see how the roots are doing, keep an eye on the water levels, especially as I'm getting to know her. And then I have 1 that I'm just letting sit in water for a bit. So I have her in a nursery cup, in a cup of water again. I just use like little disposable cups, and then I use them over and over again. You can see she's got great roots for being a brand new addition to the fam. So I'm excited to see what happens and to see side by side like what is working better for this plant as it adjusts to my home. Okay, the next one, you're not gonna believe this. It's so tiny. It's just so silly. But it's a little Ludisia, and it's in its green form. So I'm gonna tilt her up for you. Look at how pretty those leaves are. It's like a little tapestry on each leaf, I think. Really beautiful. So this is how all of the plants came to me. So I learned a little fun fact about this. Their roots are wrapped in peat. So any plant that's imported, specifically from Indonesia, I'm not sure on all plants, but specifically from Indonesia, they have to come in the peat. They can't import them in dirt because you can't ship like dirt, I guess, to keep pests and disease out of the country. I don't know how the peat keeps disease from coming in. So I'm a little suspicious of that policy, but all of my plants came with this. So I need to figure out what to do with them after they come home. And so I'm gonna kind of go through the process of what I do, and I'm gonna try to mix it up this video, and I'm gonna do 2 different perspectives. So you won't see most of me for the rest of this video. I'm gonna tilt it so you can watch what I'm doing with the plants, okay? So here is our little baby Ludisia we just discussed. This is gonna be an adventure for both of us because I haven't seen her roots yet. I'm just freeing her for the first time. So what we're gonna do first is open up our little packaging, and then we're gonna very gently remove this peat mixture. I'm gonna try not to hurt her little roots. So some of the concerns when I bring a new plant into the house are pests. And so we're gonna do a couple things to ensure that we don't have any pest issues. And then also I just wanna take a look at the roots and see what we're working with. So this little sweet baby has, you know, medium roots, but this one is looking like it might be a little rotten. So I'm gonna give it some time to see what happens with that root. The next step is we're gonna take this sweet little baby over to the sink and we're gonna rinse her roots really good. So make sure it's not too hot or cold. And we're just gonna rinse all of that soil off and really inspect those roots. Oh yeah, that one was totally rotten. It just broke right off, okay? Well, the good news is our suspicions were true. All right, so I'm gonna keep rinsing her. Her leaves look super duper healthy, but her roots are kind of small. So what that tells me is that this little babe is probably going to enjoy being in some water for a bit to help her develop her roots. And remember, who do we put our little root growing baby plants with? We put them with a pothos, and that way the pothos can help their roots grow faster and stronger. So the next thing I do is I like to spray down those roots with a little hydrogen peroxide water mix. Very little hydrogen peroxide per water, but I just want to get a good clean rinse and make sure that if there is any like fungus or something growing on her, that I get it cleaned off. So some of these roots are looking a little sus, but I'm not gonna give up hope on her, okay? So now that we've seen what her roots look like, let me show you what we're gonna do for her. All right, so since our roots are so tiny, we are going to be rooting her in water for a little bit. So I've got my big disposable cup. These are usually used after my kids have used them. And then I have this little nursery pot. So what I do first is I take my cup. See all my potting materials I don't need now. And then I'm gonna put this little guy into the cup, put him all the way down. And then I have put my little rooting baby here on one of my little plant holder dudes. I love these dudes. And that way we'll be able to keep him with his roots in the water without getting too much of the stem or the leaves in the water, so that the plant will stay healthy above water and not sink in and start to rot or have any kind of moisture damage to the top part of the plant. So some people may use like a rooting hormone at this part of the process. So rooting hormone is something you could buy just, you know, at your local nursery. And that would help the roots establish themselves more quickly. But you know me, I love my little pothos hack. And so I have found one of my little pothos babes to just poke in here with my rooting plant. So then the pothos can just root on our little baby plant, and hopefully they will both benefit from this temporary roommate situation. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our Alocasia Bambino, this beautiful little lady. And I suspect I'm gonna be able to just repot her because she's a much more established plant. So I've got my supplies all laid out. I've got my nursery pot with drainage. I have my proprietary soil mixture, which includes the perlite, our leca, the little clay balls that'll help increase water flow. I've got my worm poop, my worm castings. I might decide to do a worm farm. Would that be weird? I don't know. Be weird to talk about at dinner parties, but I think my plants would really like it. And then some potting soil. And it's not a super chunky potting soil, but it doesn't have to be because I'm adding all of my ingredients to it. All right, so first we're gonna loosen this little lady up. I am going to be planting her in a very similarly sized pot. So about as close as I could get. So she's got some good roots in there. Looking good, girl. All right, so I'm gonna shake off all of this dirt that came in the pot, and then I'm gonna rinse her off and spray her with my hydrogen peroxide solution, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with our alocasia, and her roots are beautiful. I even found two little corms. See, two little corms. This is what they grow from. I'm gonna try my hand at growing one from a corm. Who knows? I mean, you know, the worst thing it can do is not grow. So now what we're gonna do is take these beautiful roots and we are going to put her in our clear pot and mix our soil together to get a perfect little blend for her new home. So I like to do my leca first, and that way the bottom of the plant is not gonna sit in some wet roots. Now, some of the things about this sweet little lady, she likes to not dry out. So a lot of my plants like to dry out all the way. She does not like to dry out all the way. She likes to be watered a little bit more frequently, or, you know, if you have a humidifier somewhere in the house, she would like to be near a humidifier. That's her jam. Okay, so now we're just gonna kind of mix the rest of this together and make a nice little combination soil with our perlite, the rest of our leca, our potting soil, and our worm castings. All right, and then we'll just kind of start adding that to her. She'll probably be okay in this pot for a while, but she does have a really nice root ball and really good roots. So we'll have to keep an eye on them through this nursery pot and make sure they're not getting too crowded. Once I have her all potted up in this nursery pot, I am gonna find her a decorative pot to live in, and then I'll just pull her out to water her, check on her roots, make sure everything's going well, and then I'll put her back in her decorative pot. So pest control, especially with new plants in the house, I like to do a little preventative pest control. There's also some more aggressive options that you can take if you find an actual pest issue. So for me, when I bring them home, I like to use this product. There you go. The We the Wild Protect spray, and that just has a little bit of neem oil, Castile soap, and some like just natural oils that pests don't like. You know, it's a very natural option and it's great as a preventative. So once I get her all potted, get her watered, get her stable, I'm gonna spray her down with that Protect spray, and then I will rinse it out of her leaves later. So I don't want the neem spray to sit on her too long, especially if she's a healthy plant with no current issues. But I do want to deter those pests. All right, I think our little babe's happy in here. If you find that you do have a pest issue on one of your plants, which is what happened to my other alocasia, poor thing, I ended up doing a really good drenching with that Protect, and then I also used some systemic granules with her. Now those are pretty poisonous and you should never use them if you're intending to move a plant outside at any time. But if you have something like spider mites or thrips or something like that that is really hanging around for a while, mealybugs, then I use systemic granules. Because I'm only natural and organic to a point. Don't be killing my plants, pests. I'll get serious. All right, so I'm gonna water her up and I'll show you how we do the Protect spray. Okay, movie magic. I've totally cleaned workspace. Wish it worked like that in real life. All right, so we've got our Protect spray. We've got our plant, which I've watered thoroughly until water ran out of the drainage holes. And then I found that she needed a little more dirt on top of that. So then I topped her off again. So now we've got her all done here. Her leaves got a little bit wet in the process, obviously, but that's okay. So we're just gonna take this and we're gonna spray it on the tops of the leaves and then also on the bottoms of the leaves, because a lot of times like your mealybugs or your spider mites can be hiding under those leaves, okay? So this has an interesting smell. It's got some of those essential oils and it's got the neem oil, which all have a pretty strong smell. But once you know that it means protection and cleanliness, you're gonna really like it. So we're gonna let this little babe sit for a little bit and then I'm gonna spray off her leaves with water and then set her in her decorative pot to hopefully thrive and live a lovely life amongst the other plants. So thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. Let me know which one of these you think is gonna be the winner when it comes to the Thrive competition, our Roots in Water, our direct transplant into soil. I'll keep you posted on those. So thanks for coming and happy planting.